Okay, hello! In this video I'm going to talk about the process for one of my commissions, seeing as the previous video was about getting started in the commission space and working as a freelance illustrator. That's kind of what I am. I don't make enough money to sustain myself off of it. For now, it's just a side hustle, and I'm currently working on other projects at the same time. But regarding that, this video is a step-by-step walkthrough through my process of a commission I did for a Dungeons and Dragons character, full body, which a lot of the times is what you're gonna get commissioned, especially starting out for like the cheaper end of commissions. A lot of D&D, Pathfinder, and just general role-playing game enthusiasts like to have art done of their OCs, so they're gonna hit you up with references and descriptions, and you get to work. I mean, that's how I started out. My first ever commission was a D&D character, and my most recent commission is also a D&D character, and that's what I'm gonna be tackling in this video, my most recent commission. I'm gonna walk you through the steps from start to finish. Okay, so this time around it was a Discord client, and they came to me after I put up a paid offer. Okay, so first of all, you get the instructions. Now, thankfully, this was a good client, and I'm sending you this so that you know the ideal scenario would be like this, but you can make do with a lot less, especially because in this case, the commission was a very simple D&D character. So the character itself wasn't what was simple, but what I had to do was simple. They wanted a character illustration, and it's fantasy because it's Dungeons and Dragons. That's why usually those clients send you tons of picture references, or if they already have commissioned other artists before to do art of said OC, then you can just use their stuff. So yeah, as you can see here, the first thing you get are the instructions. They told me, okay, firstly, she's got a bit of a darker skin tone, probably something around here, and this was the reference for the skin tone. Maybe a bit of a cooler complexion, a combo of warm, comfortable clothes plus shaman vibes. She sent this for the warmer clothes reference, and this for the shaman vibes reference. In addition, this as a variant. Then she sent me a weapon reference, because this Dungeons and Dragons character is a warrior woman, and she wields a great bow, the bow reference. Perhaps a bow something like this. It'd be very big. She uses a great bow. I'm honestly not sure what I want her hair to be like. I think I want it to be a softer texture, maybe mostly straight with a bit of wave. I'm not sure if I want her hair to be dark or light, so if you're okay with it, I'd like to play with both and see what fits. As you can see here, after the bow reference, there was a general vibe reference. Ultimately, I want her to look like she'd fit in with these bad bitches. The first step, in this case, because I had plenty of reference and it was pretty simple to get started, I did the technique of going with the silhouettes. And so I did a bunch of silhouettes, and I'll show you them real quick. They should be here somewhere. Initial concept. These are the initial concepts I made. I used the silhouetting technique, right? Especially during the concepting stage. It's a lot easier to create forms that don't necessarily ought to have so much meaning, and they don't need to be too precise, and then you add like 1, 2 values above that, and you're good. This is very simple, takes very little time, and it is an effective way to concept sketches to then show to your client and ask for what direction they'd like to be headed in, because they send you references, and then you pick and choose out of the reference what you enjoy, what you like, and you create different concepts, and then they'll give you an idea of how to continue. At least that's how it worked this time with me. Okay, after that, the client responded, I'm really vibing with outfit number 1, which is this one, this sketch. And for poses, I really like the middle left and top middle. Actually, definitely clothing on the bottom one, 100%. These are the line sketches that I prepared. And seeing as I told you earlier that the whole point of the silhouette technique was to take less to do concepts, which you do the most of, that's why after the client gives you a direction to move into, I prefer to move into doing actual line work with different poses. And that's what I did here. So I sent them this pose, which was more dynamic, this pose, which is a generic 3/4 pose. A little bit off there. I am not that proud of that one, but you know, that's how it is. It's their concepts. They're obviously not going to look exactly like this for the client when they approve you. So again, it was just for a general idea. The only difference was that this time I did it with lines, and so I could add more details, little earrings, little patches of fabric, and so on. Which I prefer. I did an extra 3/4 one, just walking, in case you like that more. The response was they're all very good. I'm going to mull it over for a little bit to figure out what exactly I want to go for. I think I'm vibing more with a dynamic pose, which is this one, and that's the one I ended up going with. I know one thing I was interested in was her wearing trophies in various manners, so we could potentially do feathers / trophy ornaments in the hair to help give that vibe, and that's indeed what I had done. They approved this sketch, and then I got to work and eventually created this. This was the final piece. The pose did change a bit. The lines are not completely the same as they were initially. These are the lines. These are the initial lines, and then this is what it actually looks like, so it's a bit different. During the process, they told me to add more ornaments and this little skull thing here. So yeah, along the way, the client might ask you for edits. At least in my experience, the more you send work in progresses, the more the client will trust you, and thus you're building a more trust-based relationship, and it's probably easier to keep that client and make them become a returning client. The problem is that when you do send a lot of work in progresses, they might ask you a lot of edits, which is fine because, you know, they're the client and the artwork is theirs. It needs to appeal to them. But I see some artists like to charge extra for edits, and I can see completely why, you know, so both sides of the argument make sense. This is the palette that I ended up using, and the name of the original character is Brynhivar Helvig. Lastly, I want to show you real quick, scrolling through it a bit slowly, the time-lapse replay. As you can see here, the first step was to do the silhouettes. If you're wondering how long this took about 20 minutes to do all of these silhouettes, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did 7 of them, and this took about 20 minutes. Then I got to work. After they approved that clothing, I did the pose sketches, and these took a bit more because I goofed around a little bit, put a little bit too much effort in some of them. And I ended up spending 30 minutes, so that's 50 minutes to get an approval, which is here. So I did these sketches, I sent them to the client, and then they approved this one. And so this is the one that I ended up refining. As you can see, I changes around a little bit what it actually looks like. You see? Like, I'm not even starting to paint yet, and it was constantly changing. Right, so it took me about 50 minutes of actual work. Now actually it takes longer, but the actual time I spent drawing was 50 minutes. And the reason why I say it takes longer is because you need to communicate with the client, wait for them to respond, and in the meantime you can work on other drawings and such. So yeah, it took me about 50 minutes to get a confirmation, and then I worked on this. And then if you're wondering, in total this took about, I want to say 3 hours. So over the course of 4 hours, that's that. I spent a total of 4 hours working on this. There you go. The actual effective time I spent drawing was 4 hours in total, including the beginning sketches, the line sketches, pose references, and then the final piece. So yeah, in total this took about 4 hours, and then I put together the tutorial section here, as you can see. So yeah, that's that. Thank you very much for watching. This was a short video. I didn't really give too many tips in this. It's just a walkthrough of how I do my process. And yeah, you can try it yourself. It doesn't take that long. It's very effective at making sure that your client gets exactly what they want, and it works especially well for fantasy commissions like Dungeons & Dragons characters, which are honestly most of the times I get commissioned, it's a Dungeons & Dragons character. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.